What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Now, guys, I've been back in Houston for 2 days now, 3 days, and I've been reporting about the situation with the power outage and the progress that's being made and what they're saying they're doing, and stuff still ain't getting done. But I will tell you this. Today was my first day back at work, and I was all over town. I ain't seen no truck doing nothing. Now, I've seen staging areas at Home Depot parking lots, and they were having morning briefings, so they're going to be doing work, but I just haven't seen them doing anything. Not saying that they're not. So I just wanted to just give you my account of what I've been seeing. But I do want to talk about something, and like, this is serious. Amidst the stuff that's going on out here with the lights and CenterPoint energy and stuff like this, there's something that's slowing the progress, and I'm going to talk about it today. It's the massive amount of threats and violence against the workers that are from out of town and the people that are here working with CenterPoint Energy here to help us and assist us getting the power back on. The mayor is pleading with residents to stop threatening and messing with these people. Now, I'm going to show you a series of videos that I knew a couple of them, but I didn't know the situation was that bad out here. As a Houstonian, man, we got to stop this for real, because it's slowing up the progress. It is. They're going now, anywhere they get threatened at, they putting them as later priorities. Or they not going in the neighborhoods now unless police go with them. So a lot of people can't get power now because people are acting a fool. And don't get me wrong. People do have a reason to be angry and upset. But I mean, threatening people that are here to help us, that's not the way, y'all. It's not. Take a look at these videos and we'll come back and talk about it.
Attacks on linemen. Several people working on the front lines to get the power back on say they have been threatened or assaulted while on the job. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm Mario Diaz in for Bill Barajas. It's been 1 week since Hurricane Beryl, and tonight there are approximately 268,000 CenterPoint customers in our area still without power. Local leaders say not only does CenterPoint have to do better, but so do Houstonians after several linemen were victimized while trying to restore the city's electricity. One man was arrested for threatening a lineman with a gun. KPRC2 reporter Corley Peel is speaking with that lineman tonight.
I spoke with that lineman on the phone. He didn't want to go on camera, but he says he's here from out of state, and he's been helping restore power in our neighborhoods ever since Beryl hit. He is okay, but police say those committing crimes against crews will face stronger penalties.
People of Houston. Boy, I got
Some out-of-state linemen speaking out on TikTok after receiving threats and people questioning their work as they restore power following Beryl.
We're all here and we're all working our hardest, but we can only do what CenterPoint asks us to do and when they tell us to go.
This video shows a man on 59 near Buffalo Speedway hitting a crew's truck with an object. Several law enforcement and local leaders came together addressing the violence against power crews.
We've had guys have guns pulled on them. We've had guys had rocks picked up and slung at them. I had a crew out in Sugar Land, D&T Power, we're working it out in Sugar Land. They had guys have AK-47 standing across the street from them, never pointed it at them, but menacing them.
Some linemen harassed while eating lunch, accused of not working, forcing crews to move staging areas.
They elected to move their operation from Barnett Stadium, which was very close to the work being done, all the way out to Barker Cypress because they felt threatened. Well, that slows down everything, and that meant more people were going to be without power even longer because of the distance that they're going to have to travel just to get back and do that kind of work.
This man, 38-year-old Anthony Leonard, now charged with aggravated assault. It happened in this area of Hayes Road and Willcrest Drive, where several crews have been stationed waiting for their next job. Police say Leonard pulled out a gun on one of the electric utility workers, then took off. I did speak with that lineman, and he tells me, fortunately, he is okay.
When we're told to go, we go, and we go hard as we possibly can, because we miss our families too. We want to go home, we want to see our wives, we want to see our kids.
CenterPoint sent out a message saying those out-of-state crews were invited to be here, So they're not obligated to stay if they feel unsafe. They can leave. And if they do leave, that could slow down restoration. CenterPoint says it does expect to restore 90% of its impacted customers by Monday. Corley Peel, KPRC 2 News.
In just a few hours, the man accused of pulling a gun on a CenterPoint Energy crew over the weekend will be back in court.
38-year-old Anthony Leonard is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. It's an incident leading Houston leaders to call for a stop to these kind of violent threats. Devon Roming is live for us this morning. And Devon, police say they're enhancing charges for these kinds of crimes.
That's right, Ron and Stephen. You know, Houston Mayor John Whitmire says it's okay to be frustrated, but not to the point of threatening violence. He says these threats are only slowing down the process, which is pretty evident by what you see behind me here at the intersection of Lazy Hollow Drive and Westheimer Road. This entire intersection is still in the dark, like many intersections in neighborhoods across the city. There's apartments that are dark. There are also stoplights that are dark. And this is what the mayor says is leading to slowdowns because of that process. Now, this comes after a crew working near Wilcrest and Briar Forest over the weekend had a gun pulled on them. Houston police say another crew at Barnett Stadium had to stop working and relocate after being threatened several times. Mayor Whitmire says these sort of threats do nothing to help with recovery, and again, they're just slowing things down.
To Houstonians, anyone that can hear my voice, these linemen are our friends. Quit threatening linemen. HPD is present at our staging centers. We'll escort linemen to their workstations.
Yesterday, the mayor, along with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, reminded the city that there would be a complete assessment of all the stakeholders, both public and private, involved in the energy restoration response in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. Now, Mayor Whitmire says they will continue to have HPD officers at some of these staging areas and out with crews until restoration is complete, all in the name of safety. Live in Houston, Devon Roming, KHOU 11 News.
Tensions building over CenterPoint's response. Only on 2 tonight, a Baytown woman is accused of making threats against CenterPoint Energy employees after a week of rising tensions for people without power. Thank you for joining us at 10. I'm Keith Garvin.
Good evening. I'm Daniela Guzman. Well, the woman is accused of making the threats on social media, and tonight she is charged with felony terroristic threat for some of those disturbing messages. Let's go to Bryce Newberry now live at CenterPoint's headquarters tonight with that story you'll see only on 2. Bryce?
Yeah, Daniela and Keith, in the last 10 minutes, we have just confirmed that Houston police have made the decision to put a marked patrol unit outside of CenterPoint Energy's headquarters in response to these recent threats against the utility company. And we obtained these documents late today outlining a series of posts that woman made on X. She's accused of threatening to shoot up the utility company's headquarters here on Louisiana Street. And in some of those posts included videos of a loaded firearm magazine. After Hurricane Beryl knocked out power for millions in the Houston area, temperatures and tempers have been hot.
Threatening our linemen is not going to get your power on any faster.
Documents obtained exclusively by KPRC2 now reveal a 21-year-old Baytown woman is accused of making murder threats against CenterPoint Energy employees. Rogan Brente Miles is accused of making several posts on X, the first around 7:45 Friday morning, that read, "It won't be until I actually show up and show some action for y'all to fully grasp how people are feeling. Threats are being made because action isn't being taken. I will show you the greatest example of blanking around and finding out." In a later post, she appeared to single out CEO Jason Wells, writing, "Action is the greatest reaction. 2 hours. See you soon, Jason." It included a video of a loaded firearm magazine. Within minutes, another post reading, "1:45 to go. I don't think y'all have grasped grasped the reality of what's going to occur. Free lobotomies for all you idiots. The posts and replies to CenterPoint came on day 5 of the outages. She expressed being tired of PR stunts, that she hoped her act would inspire others to do the same. The account now appears to be shut down, but CenterPoint reported the post to the Texas Fusion Center. It's a 24/7 unit involving federal, state, and local law enforcement, which provides real-time intelligence on suspicious activities and threats. DPS intelligence and counterterrorism agents captured the posts before records show some got removed for violating the user agreement. When investigators contacted Miles, she allegedly told them the posts were made in the heat of the moment, that she was not making the best of decisions and didn't have any firearms.
It slows things down and it hurts us, and this is not who we are. I'll also say, when you do take matters in your own hand and do things like this, we will hold you accountable.
And tonight, CenterPoint tells me there have been increasing incidents of violence involving crews, which are counterproductive to getting the power back on. At last check, Miles has not been arrested. She is wanted tonight on that felony terroristic threat charge. And DPS special agents are reminding Texans to avoid making any threats in person or online, because those can result in some very serious felony charges. We're live downtown tonight. I'm Bryce Newberry, KPRC 2 News.
Family members and the union representing Texas utility workers are urging people to leave linemen alone. This comes after multiple reports of violence and someone allegedly pulling out an AK-47 at a crew. ABC 13's Rosie Wynn joins us live from Southwest Houston with more on this one. Rosie.
Eric, these crews work an average of 16 hours a day, many of them coming from other states to help bring more than 2.2 million people back online who lost power after Hurricane Beryl. Their jobs extremely dangerous by nature, but these hostile interactions are adding another layer of safety concerns for these utility workers.
Please, God, stop harassing these people. I mean, they can't even eat lunch.
A desperate plea from Ed Allen, who represents the Union for Texas Utility Workers. In a news conference yesterday, he says the amount of hostility that they've received this past week has been unacceptable.
We've had people brandishing AK-47s at them, and it needs to stop. I've had several companies already tell me, Ed, if it doesn't stop, we're going to get in our trucks and drive off.
Houston police say they've received 5 reports since Wednesday. One was about a CenterPoint employee receiving angry phone calls and emails. 3 were about someone threatening to shoot at CenterPoint's headquarters or at crews out in the field. Another one involved a worker who had a gun pointed at him, prompting CenterPoint to evacuate 100 of their linemen at one of their staging areas. We spoke to a woman on the phone whose brother traveled to Southeast Texas from Florida. She asked us to conceal her identity to protect his job. She says he's had cars stopping in front of him and people making threatening gestures.
He's never felt this way, and he's never shared this kind of fear to the extent that he would call me and say, this is really bad.
The woman says many of these contracted linemen often make big sacrifices when accepting these jobs, leaving behind their families to work in vulnerable conditions, not knowing when they'll be able to come home.
I can tell you that a lot of the line workers that are there would be very, very reluctant to come back to Houston if there's another major outage.
Now, Houston is not the only place seeing these violent incidents. Last Thursday, we reported about a man in Needville who allegedly pulled out some sort of BB or airsoft gun on a CenterPoint employee. He has been charged with deadly conduct, but he tells ABC 13 that he denies these allegations and he believes it is a case of mistaken identity. Reporting live from Southwest Houston, Rosie Gwynn, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
All right, guys, there you have it. Some of the lunacy that's happening out here. And this is totally uncalled for. You got to remember, these people came from another place. They come here to help us, regardless of what they're getting paid. If they tell them to stand around, they're going to stand around. Another thing you got to realize is they're coming to assist people that have a job already. So they move when CenterPoint moves. They don't have their own supervisors here to override what CenterPoint does. So if they're at your place, they're not going to just start fixing stuff without proper authorization. These workers are not the problem. The problem is there's too many cooks in the kitchen, if you know what I mean, and it's something going on with upper management, which they need to take care of, because this right here is a mess. It is. And you know, what's sad about there are still people suffering. This is day 9. Can you imagine just being in a hot car or just hot conditions for 9 straight days? It's impossible. A lot of people can't deal with that. People are getting frustrated. You see that they had a juggernaut threaten the damn CenterPoint headquarters downtown. They still looking for her. Standing out there with AK-47s ain't gonna get the job done. They up there fixing. You don't even know what they fixing. I'm gonna tell you something. One of the main stories I've seen so far is people talking about how across the street they got lights, but they sitting in a hot ass house or an apartment looking across the street and it look like business as usual. This plays a big psychological, it has a lot of psychological ramifications of just thinking and seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Freedom and relief from the heat is only across the street or next door, or I don't know what the problem is, but I mean, it's going to get fixed eventually. It is. And I mean, I'm one of the lucky ones that have power right now, but other people don't. And when you're upset and you're angry at these guys because you don't have power and stuff, you're not the only one that's suffering. And that's real. I just wanted to say that, man. I wanted to get these stories out, man. This thing is bigger than I thought it was. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. This ain't the way, man. Oh yeah, and one more thing too. Let me add this. The next time we have some type of catastrophe out here in Houston, it leaves a bad name on the city, a stain. Ain't nobody gonna come. This is one of the things people need to think about when they're doing stuff like this, but they don't because they're so angry. And there's nothing wrong with being angry. But they're already telling them right now, the union reps and all this stuff, hey, if this keeps happening, come back home. We don't care. Come back home. They don't have to be here. People are coming all the way from Florida and all these other places, traveling in work trucks. You know how long that journey takes? And it's an embarrassment. It is. Thanks for listening.